The world often sees Melania Trump as a poised public figure, her elegant demeanor and calm presence defining her image. Yet behind the polished exterior lies a woman with a deep reservoir of compassion. On a chilly winter morning, Melania found herself drawn to a women's shelter in Washington, D.C. Unlike the grand events she often attended, this visit was personal, quiet, and far from the cameras. It was a decision born out of a desire to connect, to listen, and to offer a glimmer of hope to women rebuilding their lives. As she stepped inside the modest building, the scent of freshly baked bread filled the air. The hum of soft chatter, mixed with the occasional laughter of children, created a stark contrast to the stories of hardship carried within those walls. Melania paused for a moment, taking in the scene, her heart heavy yet hopeful. She knew this day would change her in ways she couldn't yet imagine. Melania was greeted warmly by the shelter's director, a spirited woman named Linda, whose eyes radiated kindness despite the weight of the work she carried. Linda led Melania through the shelter, introducing her to staff and explaining the challenges they faced daily: limited funding, overcrowding, and the emotional toll of supporting women escaping abuse, homelessness, and poverty. In the common room, women of all ages sat together, some knitting, others reading, and a few simply staring out the window, lost in thought. Among them was a young woman named Grace, holding a baby wrapped in a worn blanket. Her eyes met Melania's, and for a fleeting moment, a silent connection was made. Melania approached Grace, crouching to meet her gaze. "Your baby is beautiful," she said softly, her voice filled with genuine warmth. Grace hesitated before responding. "Thank you. His name is Noah. He's my reason for everything." Over cups of tea, Melania sat with a group of women who began sharing their stories. Each one was a testament to resilience. There was Maria, who had fled an abusive marriage with nothing but her children and a suitcase. Layla, a former teacher who lost everything after a series of misfortunes. And Grace, who had been disowned by her family after choosing to keep her child. As Melania listened, her eyes welled with tears, but she held them back, focusing instead on offering words of encouragement. "You're stronger than you know," she told them. "Your courage to start again is more powerful than any setback you faced." One of the women, an older lady named Ruth, spoke up. "People like you don't usually come here. It means a lot to us, more than you might realize." Melania reached out, taking Ruth's hand. "I'm here because your stories matter. You matter." Determined to do more than just listen, Melania rolled up her sleeves and joined the shelter's activities. She helped prepare lunch, serving hearty bowls of soup and bread to the residents. The simple act of serving food created moments of connection, a smile here, a kind word there. Later, Melania joined a crafting session where women created vision boards filled with images and words that represented their dreams. She sat beside Grace, who hesitated before cutting out a picture of a cozy home. "I just want a safe place for Noah and me," Grace admitted. Melania handed her a glue stick and said, "Then let's make it happen, one step at a time." As the day drew to a close, the shelter organized a small gathering to thank Melania for her visit. Linda spoke, her voice filled with emotion. "Today, you reminded us that we're not invisible, that our struggles are seen and our efforts are valued." Melania addressed the room, her words heartfelt and sincere. "You've shown me what true strength looks like. Each of you is an inspiration, not just to me, but to anyone who hears your story." Before leaving, she approached Grace one last time, handing her a small envelope. "This is for you and Noah," she said. Inside was a handwritten note of encouragement and enough money to help Grace take the first steps toward a better future. Melania's visit sparked a wave of support for the shelter. Inspired by her experience, she advocated for increased funding and raised awareness about the challenges women's shelters face. Donations poured in, and the shelter expanded its services, providing more beds, counseling programs, and job training opportunities. Grace found a part-time job, and with the shelter's support, moved into her own apartment. She often thought of Melania, whose kindness had given her the courage to keep going. Months later, Melania received a photo of Grace and Noah in their new home, accompanied by a note that read, "Thank you for believing in us when we couldn't believe in ourselves." Melania smiled as she placed the photo on her desk. The day she spent at the shelter had reminded her of the profound impact one person can have. It wasn't about grand gestures, but about showing up, listening, and offering hope. And sometimes hope is all it takes to change a life.